Carles Puigdemont won't be able to be reinstated as Catalan president for now. The Spanish Constitutional Court has suspended the law enabling his swearing in at a distance. Now all eyes are set on Puigdemont's party, Junts per Catalunya. Hello, and welcome to Catalan News. Pro-independence parties will probably have to find an alternative to Puigdemont as new Catalan leader, someone who is neither in jail nor abroad. This as the court in charge of the independence case faced harsh criticism from one of the incarcerated leaders. The Spanish judicial and political measures against Catalan politicians have been branded as a violation of rights, and today we found out that the European Commission is looking into these allegations. Today is in fact Europe Day, and on our show we'll have the chance to speak to the Commission representative in Barcelona. With only 13 days to swear in an MP for president before a snap election is called, it looks like we're about to reach the end of the current political deadlock. The Spanish Constitutional Court has suspended the law allowing Carles Puigdemont to be sworn in at a distance. A new MP needs to be appointed, and rumors aren't clear on who will be chosen. The judge's decision today came after a move by the Spanish government, led by the People's Party, which today found an unexpected rival.
The day in Spanish politics started with a bitter clash in the Congress between the two closest allies against Catalonia's independence. Mariano Rajoy, the Spanish president and leader of the ruling People's Party, had a row with Albert Rivera, head of the Unionist Ciutadans Party. The latter claimed that Rajoy's cabinet is being too lenient in its handling of the Catalan issue. The argument ended up with Ciutadans withdrawing its support of the executive in the application of exceptional measures suspending Catalonia's self-rule. But, of course, not for the same reasons that the pro-independence camp rejects the measures. This happened just before the Spanish cabinet met and decided to appeal in the Constitutional Court the law enabling Puigdemont's investiture at a distance. This move makes swearing in Puigdemont as president virtually impossible. A new candidate for the post is now expected to be put forward by the deposed president himself in the coming days. May the 22nd is the deadline to appoint a new Catalan leader if a snap election is to be avoided. So it is now down to Puigdemont to make the next move. But who will be the chosen one? Topping the list is one of his closest allies, Elsa Artadi. She would be the first female president in history. Another MP rumoured to have a chance is Quim Torra, a lawyer and writer who is new to institutional politics. Other possible names include a member of the Parliament Bureau, Josep Costa, the mayor of Mollerussa, Marc Solsona, and Antoni Morral, a former mayor for an alternative left-wing party. Whoever it may be, Spain will only accept someone who is not being prosecuted by the Spanish judiciary.
It's unlikely that any of the 25 officials involved in the independence case will become the next leader of Catalonia. And today, most of them learned that their prosecutions were confirmed, pending a final appeal. The Supreme Court in charge of the case also opened the door to lowering charges for leaders accused of rebellion to conspiracy to commit rebellion or sedition. These are milder crimes, which still, however, carry a handful of years in jail. The judge also stated that a report sent by the Spanish Finance Ministry confirms the alleged misuse of funds by Puigdemont's cabinet ahead of the referendum. This is one of the crimes that courts throughout Europe are looking into, while deciding on extradition cases. The lawyer in charge of the three officials, now in Belgium, said he is hopeful that the European arrest warrants be dismissed. According to him, Spain is abusing this European provision. In a debate in Antwerp, he also gave his view on the current situation in Spain.
You see the criminalization of political opponents. Criminalization of political opponents. What that means? That means that your political opponents are criminals and that their political acts are crimes, and that you don't beat them in parliament, but you put them in prison.
Still talking about the old continent. Today is Europe Day, commemorating the Schuman Declaration, which in 1950 was the first step towards the first European Community of States. And this, of course, led to the current EU. These are difficult times for the institution, though, with Brexit and other hot topics on the table. In Catalonia, the EU has received some criticism in the past few months, but pro-European feelings are still strong in the country, as was shown today.
Europe's Day was a celebration that spanned parties on an institutional level, both in Catalonia and in Spain. Everybody praised the importance of European values, yet what pro-independence supporters and unionists might not agree on is how do these principles apply to the political situation in Catalonia. Parliament Speaker Roger Torrent stressed that Catalonia is a profoundly pro-European society. Addressing some 20 consuls from around the world, he called for going back to basics.
Una idea d'Europa arrelada als principis democràtics, als drets i les llibertats, una Europa lligada a una idea cultural que ens aproximi a aquests fonaments de l'estat de dret i la democràcia.
In Madrid, the President of the European Parliament received a major award from the Spanish King. Felipe VI praised him for his defending unity and the rule of law. Tajani is one of the most vocal European leaders against Catalan independence.
Frente a populistas y nacionalistas que no respetan ni las leyes ni los ciudadanos, la Unión Europea debe defender el Estado de Derecho y el espacio cívico que éste garantiza.
News came from Brussels too.
Il n'est pas vrai que nous n'aurions pas déploré l'emploi de la violence. Mais il est vrai que nous avons exhorté et les Catalans et le gouvernement espagnol de retrouver la voie du dialogue.
The EU Commission is analyzing the alleged regression in democratic and civil rights in Spain following a request by the European Free Alliance group. The Commissioner for Justice will now have to respond to the letter, which accuses Spain of prosecuting citizens on political grounds.
In order to go more into depth about the current situation of the European Union on both a global and a Catalan level, we can now speak with Ferran Tarradellas. He is the representative for the European Commission in Barcelona. Hello and good evening, Mr. Tarradellas.
Good evening.
So today is Europe Day, and there are so many crises in the EU going on. Do we still have reason to be optimistic about the future of Europe?
Well, what we are celebrating now is the longest period of peace that the continent has enjoyed since the 3rd century after Christ. I think this is something that has to be put on the table. It is true that there are crises, but what we have seen in all the crises is that we are much more capable of facing problems when we are together than when we go by our own. So now we have an excellent chance to think again how the European Union at 27 should be. And I think this Day of Europe could be an important point to reflect before the elections in 2019, what is the kind of Europe that we want for the future.
So it's actually a year until these elections in 2019. Last time turnout in the EU elections was less than 50% in Catalonia. So do you think Catalans are motivated enough to vote in these elections, or they don't care?
I think that for Catalans it's very important, for Catalans and for the rest of European citizens, it's very important that they participate in these elections, because they should know that many of the decisions that affect their daily lives are discussed at European level and are approved at European level in the European Parliament. So I think it's in their own interest to make their voice heard, and the best way to have their voice heard is voting in the European elections.
Many pro-independence Catalans wanted Europe to hear their voices in this debate on the referendum, and especially now that some leaders are in prison. Some feel disappointed. Do you understand this feeling from Catalan society towards the EU?
Well, the European Union had clear competences, and from the very beginning, even before that the Catalan crisis started, the position of the Commission has been that this is an internal issue of a member state. And this has been the long-standing position of the European Union. And I think for all citizens, Spaniards and Catalans, it's good to understand what Europe can say and cannot say on an issue which is outside their competences according to what the treaties say.
Thank you, Mr. Tarradellas.
Thank you to you.
Moving on now to business. If you've ever wanted to go on a trip but been held back by not having anyone to go with, a new sharing platform started in Catalonia, soon to be an app, might have the solution.
Traveling can be intoxicating, taking you to the four corners of the earth, providing varied and beautiful sights. Going it alone has its benefits, but sometimes you just need someone to share that picturesque view with. And that is where Nomadizers come in. This web platform, founded in Catalonia, will help you find traveling companions, either for a leg of your trip or for the whole thing. It matches you based on destination, dates, and compatibility. It all started when its founders wanted to take a trip, but were unable to, since their friends couldn't sync their availability. That's when they had an idea to solve a basic problem.
Moltes vegades el que ens passa és que volem viatjar però no tenim ningú amb qui fer-ho perquè no coincidim o bé amb gustos o bé amb les dates de les vacances.
To use nomadizers, it's simple. You create a profile, putting in the dates when you want to travel and where to. Then you fill in the basic information about how you like to travel. Founders want to even put more features on the website and are turning it into an app through a crowdfunding campaign. In a year and a half, the platform has garnered success with more than 30,000 users from over 85 countries. And those who used the platform didn't just end their trip after they got home. Many stayed friends, some became roommates, and others even fell in love after sharing an adventure through Nomadizer. It's not all that surprising that these relationships come to be. Easy even, said Nomadizer co-founder. After all, you're sharing a passion, that of traveling.
Still on business, but on a bigger scale. An advanced biofuel plant will be set up in El Morell, a town in southern Catalonia near Tarragona. The local councillors have accepted a project led by the companies Enerkem from Canada and Suez from France. If it finally comes to fruition, it will have a remarkable impact on the area, including 500 new jobs to build the centre and 200 more once it's up and running. It's a €250 million investment for a plant which will look much like the one already in Edmonton, Canada, also led by Enerkem. This kind of plant transforms solid urban waste into biofuel, and the one in El Morell might treat up to 375,000 tons of it.
És un projecte important, és un projecte molt modern, és un projecte que per nosaltres ens dona certes garanties de que és una empresa com Suert i Ercam, són dues empreses molt importants.
Yesterday, we finished our show with images of some of the landscapes after heavy rains in the past few weeks. But despite the typical Catalan spring showers, good weather is coming. And with it, so do the early swimmers. We leave you with footage of the southern Costa Daurada coast, where summer is already coming. Enjoy them, and see you tomorrow.